Hey gamers, how's it going? So this is going to be interesting because Sean Layden actually finally shares his weigh-ins, right? About the Nintendo price tag and what he thinks about inflation and everything. Because we talked about this before, right? Where we're like, actually I'm not doing a video recording, so I can just use my whatchamacallit. But we don't see there being a need to bring up inflation to compare to now, but a lot of people do that, even industry experts like Sean Layden here. It says right here, EX PlayStation CEO says companies should have baked in a $5 price hike every gen. Yeah, you read that right, what he just said. Companies should have baked in a $5 price hike every generation to acclimate gamers. We're going to get into this. I'm going to explain it, and there's a lot to talk about here. Former PlayStation boss Sean Layden thinks game prices have actually gone down if you factor in inflation. Guys, we're going to get to this article. I already have it up to the right, up on the tab. Let me tell you something here. The problem with inflation compared to now till then is that you're not in the same present reality in a worldly sense to where things are the same. You could spend the price that he's talking about. If you went up $5 every generation to now, that's almost like 85 to 90 bucks. You could spend that one day on microtransactions on a game now. A game that asks you like Marathon to pay $39.99 probably, right? Or Helldivers, or whatever games that Sony thinks they can charge for. And then after you already paid them, here comes the battle pass. Pay $15 to $20, get some premium battle pass for like 29, right? And then spend $20 that day on some microtransactions. So it's 40, 20, and then another 20 on the battle pass and the microtransactions. You've already spent $80 and you just got that game, right? You're loving it. Oh man, I like this too. Let me go ahead and get this skin over here. Those timelines are not comparable. The money you can make now compared to then is not comparable. And I agree, the cost of video games then and now is not comparable. But that's on you guys' end, how you want to do that. Even then, like no matter what, even when games were the same prices, you could never say a game like, let's say for example, let's say that a game like South of Midnight, right, or some other game, launched at $59.99, right, and you saw like Elden Ring come at $59.99. Do you think that that $59.99 is the same? Hell no, right? Or something like Astrobot, which is only 10 hours, right, is the same as Mario Odyssey that's 70 hours. You see the difference in value, though they could be the same price. Some crappy game they got a 58 meta is $59.99, but some other game got a 94 meta and it's $59.99. Mm, not the same. Nobody never talks about that point of view though, which I kind of find funny. Some games are not worth their price. Now, let's go over to this article. Former PlayStation CEO company should have baked in $5 price hike in every generation to acclimate gamers. We're going to see what he's talking about. And there's some people that says that it makes sense to them, which I kind of find funny. So what Sean Layden is saying that instead of just jacking up to $80, $20, probably more in 10 recently, if you would have did 5 over time, people would have been able to accept that more. Is that true in a sense? Yes, because they've been doing this with everything, with food, right? When we talk about the prices of food, prices of drinks, the prices of everything in this planet, gas, everything has gone up all over the place. Everything. And when you keep on doing those little margins, people do accept it. But does that mean that it's right? No. He's for the corporate greed by stating that because, like I said, I feel like at a certain point, you'll start to realize that certain things weren't even justified at the price that they are before these price um, tags went up. And then if a game is so good, it'll sell so much and you'll make that money. As I told people, I would rather sell 10 million copies at $50 than 3 million copies at 70. You see what I'm saying? Because 70 times 3 would be 240. See? 7, 14, 21. That's sorry. Yeah, 70 times 3 would be 210 million. 7, 14, 21. If you sold 10 million at 5, you have 500. Would you rather have Because it's all about profit, right? Would you rather have 500 million or would you rather have 210 million? You'd rather have that 500 million plus a bigger community. See? Well, this is why I say sometimes greed is dumb. Now, let's continue. One of the biggest takeaways from Nintendo Switch 2 reveal was that some of the company's games will be sold at 80. Literally Mario Kart, that's it. Everything else has like some expansion or upgrade pack physically. Digital, you can get them cheaper. Though that's still, what it is. And like I told people, you can only stay on this for so long, then you're just being a grifter. Because it's like, okay, let's face reality. We see it now. Nintendo's not going to budge. What do we do at this point? Because this is reality. Me, I don't want to miss out on any games. And to avoid the Mario Kart, I'm going to get the bundle. Then I'm not paying 80 for anything. It's just everything else is 70 and under. And if I decide to get a game every once in a while that I like, sure. But I'm not missing out on the hardware. Nobody had a problem with the hardware price. It's okay. It's justifiable. So you get that. They're not going to jack the price up. The tariffs are paused for 90 days. They're shipping millions over here. So you're going to get the hardware, just like you would get the PlayStation or the whatever, right? So that you can't miss out on a game that you want. That's the way I'm looking at it. I support everything regardless. And as a gamer, I do think we're eating good and we get so much benefits that that's not going to hurt me to get the hardware. Now, what do I want to do after that? It depends on what they want to do or the value or the quality of it. So that's my thing. If people want to sit there and complain into oblivion, but nothing's going to change, you are allowed to do that. But I think that it's a waste of air if they're not going to drop the price. What do we do then? Either we get it or we miss out or wait on a sale. Those are the options. That's why I say at a point in life, you have to wake up and realize, what are you going to do now? Okay, so what do you want to do after that? Yeah, that's up to you. Okay, needless to say, this has become a hot topic among gamers, and rightfully so, given that we just experienced a new normal of $10 added per game when the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S or X was introduced. Yeah, because Nintendo used to be the cheap entry into gaming, right, with the high quality. Now they're no longer in the entry affordable level, and that makes some people disturbed. I can understand that. Like if you just want to look at it that way, yeah, that makes sense. While most people aren't a fan of the price increase, development budgets are getting higher and higher. Everything in life is. I said the real problem is food because you need that to survive. You don't need a video game, but you need to eat. While most people aren't a fan of the price increase, development budgets are getting higher and higher. One person who understands the situation is Sean Layden. So let's see what he has to say here. Speaking to Player Drive in a video chat, Layden mentioned that if you account for inflation, game prices have actually gone down. Also, the former PlayStation executive thinks that if game companies added $5 per generation, it would have eased gamers better into paying more for each game. That's a corporate strategy for them to make more money. I still don't agree with that. I think the problem still is today is that when you have games coming out, because there's more free-to-play games now than ever, they're even launching some games at 59 or 69, and they don't deserve that price tag. You need to only have games up there that deserve it. And that people should be looking for more communities and more profit with higher sales volume rather than trying to get faster profit through higher price tags. And it's a stupid mistake. Layden shares in 2025, $59.99 is equivalent to $100. Yeah, but the problem with that now is that it's like I said, it's not just $59.99, it's the battle pass, season pass, microtransactions. You see what I'm saying? Not just entry fee, but entry fee and continuing to make money after that. You don't need to jack the price up. You're fine. That's why I said that I don't think that that should be the problem here, and I disagree with him. He's just trying to say that instead of you looking at the 80 that jacked up in front of your price right here, if I would have slipped you to 5 upgrade every generation, you would have been able to accept it better. It is the same 80 though, and as a matter of fact, you would be paying 90 right now, so it'd be worse. Layden shares in 2025, he says right here, so we got to that. It's much smaller now than it was before. But companies have been reluctant to push that price up because they probably should have done it. So he's saying it's just inevitable. They need to do that anyways because stuff is so expensive. I'm not saying that he's wrong, but what I'm saying is that they've already made so much money on their end that they're okay compared to the consumer who's being hammered big time with, tax inflation, all the stuff that's going on, everything across going up. While these people have millions of dollars and the company has like billions, you don't have to worry about nothing compared to the people. $5 price hike and made that typical. With every generation for $5, everything would have been $90 by now. There's games that don't even deserve to be 59. So that's why I say that no, that's stupid. And not every game has to equal budget. I think these things, I think variable what Nintendo says actually kind of makes sense. When I'm telling you what I'm telling you now is that not every video game budget is the same, and not every video game development is also very good. With coming in with high Metacritics, high scores, the user base is very happy. It's hitting all bases. Like I'm not gonna put Tears of the Kingdom in the same ballpark as some measly ass, you know, game that launches and it's $69.99 right next to it, and I beat this game in one sitting, and I felt like it was like a 70 meta game. That doesn't justify the price tag to me. So even if you didn't jack up the price, um, it's more about how good is this game. Because if a game is so good, you don't give a damn about the price. Like what I mean is like you're gonna find a way to get it because it's so good, everybody has to get it. That's the problem now, is that you don't have that type of development that's common. And I told you before, you can put some game on the service. You can put it on PlayStation Extra right now. If I didn't want to buy the game day one and I don't care about it, that's not going to change anything for me. I don't care. I'm saying for people who can get it or at least make decent money. You know what I mean? You can make decent money, you can buy a video game at least once a month or twice a month easily. If you're making even 3,500 a month and you got a partner that's making somewhere around that and you guys pay rent no problem and you have hundreds of dollars sitting around no problem each, and it's like, yeah, I know if I buy this game, I'll be playing this year and next year. And you spend like $70 plus tax, maybe 80. It's once a year. You know what I mean? So it, like I said, it depends on how you look at it. Um, if I knew this game was gonna last me the whole entire generation, I don't have no problem with that. If you told me you'd be done with it in a day or two, I'm like, no, I'm good, man. I don't want to. I would rather play, you know, play that on a service unless that quality was so good, where it's like, man, this was an amazing 15 to 20 hours. I want to do this like 3 times, and this experience was so good, I feel satisfied for my purchase. You know what I mean? You can go out and get some food now with a couple people and spend $100. It's the way the shit is now. It's not one day. It's not nice to hear, but Layden has a good point. Games even during the Super Nintendo era cost 60 to 80. But it's like I was saying though, back then that's the only way you get that. That's it, and it's there, and you have the experience, and that's it. Nowadays, you could pay 60, season pass, battle pass, microtransactions, XP boosters, all this stuff, and it's like you've already spent way more than that just one time, and you could do that multiple times a month on one game. So, and food, it was not the way that it was back then. It was so cheap and affordable. You could save so much more money back then. You can't do that now. It's way more tougher. So that's why I feel like that when you're adding it in, you also have to look at the lifestyles that people were living. You have to look at how much food was, how much a drink was, right? How much it was to rent a house. You know what I mean? How much it was to get a car, right? How much it was for like all these sorts of things that people have to do daily and say, oh, I got this much left over. Oh, this ain't nothing. You know what I mean? It just depends on how you look at it. Oh, I can go to a pawn shop and get something that's 70 for $20. You can't do that nowadays for video games. No, they're all digital and it's just not going to work. You know what I mean? So all those things, that's why I'm like, nah, it's not about inflation. It's about, let me look at the market value and let me look at the standard lifestyle that people live and let me see if, well, is this greedy or not? That seems more reasonable to me. So whether you would have had it at 90 or 80, people are still going to complain. And even if Nintendo didn't jack up something, they're always going to complain about something. So it's more about you making that intelligent system decision for the system, and then realizing if you're supposed to be a market leader and a leader, you need to decide what's better more than the people since you're leading. So that's my take on that. So no, I get what he's saying, but I'm not with the inflation stuff, and I don't agree with the $5 every generation games being $90 now. That's even worse. So you guys can make more money when you already have billions of dollars. Get the hell out of here. No. So this guy says it's nice to hear, but Layden has a good point. Games even during that, right? And he says it like he has a good point. I get what he means by chipping so they can get used to it, but it's still the same thing over time. And it's even worse over time. So then we got to worry about GTA 6 being $100, right? Or 90, and they're going to do that. But guess what? How much money they put into that game and how long is it going to last you? A game like this could possibly get away with it. And I don't want to hear that. Same thing with Mario Kart. They'll get away with it and be fine. I don't want to hear that. But other people are going to follow. Yeah, let's see if they sell, though. Like I said, Sony tried it at $69.99. They're putting their games on PC, and they realize they can't get the sales that they want. So you think some random person is going to put it at 69 and people start paying 70 or 80 for games they would not do that for? It's not going to happen. It's just going to fail. You're going to get laid off. That's your fault, not our fault. So like and subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about this, what Sean Layden said, and about this situation right here, because this is definitely a hot topic right now. So I thought I should cover this since he weighed in on it. All right, y'all. Peace out. Ponies, sit down. Y'all have a great day.